It's 11:20. This is On the Hour.
On the Hour.
Such is politics. It's a painful business.
On the Hour.
What you mustn't do in politics is listen to people.
It's a painful business. Such is politics.
Well, the Germans have always been unenthusiastic about parallel currencies.
On the Hour with Christopher Morris.
Good morning. The main stories tonight.
The headlines.
More oxygen needed, says France. Will all paper be continuous? And Anorak Tuesday under threat, declares Primate.
On the Hour.
And later, we ask Foreign Secretary Douglas Hurd if that is likely to happen.
No, I don't think that is likely to happen.
Plus, speaking from the House of Commons ping-pong chamber, Prime Minister John Major expresses outrage at the decision by the Rugby Football Union to abolish prop forwards.
That is also Michael's position, it is Douglas's position, it is my position. It is a position held by every member of the Cabinet.
But first, the news. Residents of Brixton woke this morning to see the streets literally swarming with hard-faced convicts. But, according to officials, there was no need to worry. It was simply an escape for charity, the brainchild of Home Secretary Kenneth Baker and prison warden David Spreckley. Some of the prisoners had expressed concern over the depletion of the Amazon rainforest, said Mr. Spreckley, and I thought, what better way to help than have a sponsored mass breakout? At 7 o'clock this morning, the doors were opened, the warders turned their backs for 45 minutes, and prisoners paraded out of the gates in colourful fancy dress. They are under strict instructions to return by evening prayers.
At home.
The Conservative Party's central office has once again flatly refused to speculate over the precise date of the next general election. However, they did agree to leave a series of cryptic clues at undisclosed locations around the country.
The pound.
Sterling today, 7, 2, 50 and 5.
On the Hour with Christopher Morris and other reporter presenters.
It's 27 minutes to, time to go over to the Green Desk for some environmental news.
Green Desk.
Environmental news with me, Rosie May. The organisers of the 200-mile Malvern to Mapstead Whale Walk have fallen at the first hurdle. That's because whales can't walk and find almost any form of motion on land beyond their capabilities.
Environmental news. If it's green, we'll cover it.
Rosie May, getting the measure of matters green, a kind of green gauge, if you like. Later, who pays for our cheese? But first, the unspeakably awful and filthy world of police corruption. A special report now from our reporter, Gavin Strength.
In a surprise development, it was announced this morning that the Special Investigations Unit of Greater Doncaster's police force was to be disbanded. The region's Chief Constable, Sir Michael Cog Lucifer, explained the move.
We investigated the West Dorset Flying Squad and we found out that they were completely innocent. Indeed, those who had given evidence against the Flying Squad, 350 members of the public, we then found were guilty.
And what evidence do you have against these 350 people?
None of them were churchgoers. We know that.
Does that mean that they're guilty, that they don't go to church?
No, but we have asked them whether they do go to church, and they have all claimed they do not. And I believe that is more than coincidence.
For one man in particular, the news that the unit is to be disbanded could spell the end of a 10-year nightmare. Lionel Cosgrave is a 23-year-old local pizza delivery man.
I've just grown to notice over the years, I seem to have spent rather a lot of time being arrested, interrogated, thrown in prison, and I don't know why.
Could you tell me what was your first arrest, Lionel?
I was charged with impersonating a Chelsea pensioner. Though I was in the area at the time of Chelsea, I can't do many impersonations. Well, I can do Michael Crawford.
Lionel Cosgrave, guilty Cosgrave, has been indeed arrested 46 times.
Could you tell me a little bit about your forensic scientist, Freddie Vincent?
Dr. Freddie Vincent.
I don't actually think he is a doctor.
No, he's not. But he calls himself one, and who are we to disillusion the lad? He's a young man, he's a God-fearing man, a man who, in his own words, cacks himself before the Lord, and I respect that and I admire it.
I talked to Dr. Vincent in his home laboratory. Bearing in mind the training that most forensic scientists have in this field, would you not say that you're a little bit young to be dealing with matters of this importance?
Well, that's not the first time that allegation, has been put to me, and I've got a reply for that every time. Which is, how old was William Pitt the Younger?
I've been arrested for charged with fitting up terrorist bombings, poisoning wells.
And what actual evidence do they use against you for these crimes?
Apparently they found my blood all over policemen's fists and boots, and apparently my fingerprints have been found all over my hands. I question this forensicness myself.
You can always sort of make something look like something else. If I take a football and paint it green, you might say, oh, it's a giant P, but, you know, scrape away the paint and, you know, underneath, oh dear me, it's a football.
Freddie Vincent, Dr. Vincent, presents the evidence to a committee, myself, and I decide who is to be tried.
And who else is on this committee?
I've just told you.
Just you?
Myself and my conscience.
There is a bloke called Lionel Cosgrove.
Well, yes, I was about to come on to Lionel Cosgrove.
Guilty Lionel.
Lionel Guilty Cosgrave.
Yeah.
Could you give me some proof that you actually found against Lionel? I mean, how do you know that Lionel was in fact a bomb maker?
Well, this is interesting. Ink was found on swabs taken from his fingers, and ink, believe it or not, is one of the most vital parts in making of bombs.
But ink can come from a number of things. I mean, what about pens, for instance?
I think we're splitting hairs at this point. I mean, what kind of pens?
Corruption is like a plague, and if you don't lance it, like a boil, it can spread like some form of satanic cancer.
And what do you mean by cancer? Some sort of illness?
A disease, certainly. Potentially.
In what form does
terminal.
this disease take?
Well, your hair falls out and your skin flakes off.
No, I'm talking about the actual corruption of the police.
Oh, sorry.
On the hour, maximum use of the BBC's news resources.
In 47 seconds, sports news, but first there's been mixed reaction to the news that pedestrians are to be banned from Cambridge city centre. The council ruling follows concern over congestion in the city's increasingly crowded streets. Market traders are up in arms, claiming that already recession-hit trade will dry up completely if no one is allowed to walk within half a mile of their stalls. But the council are unrepentant. There's no pleasing these tossers, said a spokesman this morning. You clear the streets so they can unload their vans, and they turn around and crap in your face.
This is Sports Desk. I'm Alan Partridge. Formula One driver Nigel Mansell gave up motor racing this week as it's too dangerous. And anyway, claims Mansell, I can get the same sensation by sitting in a wind tunnel with dark glasses on and a paper bag of agitated wasps tied over my head.
Time now for the On the Hour campaign. This week, it's prompted by woefully inadequate public understanding of basic health issues.
Don't catch a disease.
What sort of disease did you catch recently?
Well, flu.
How do you feel about being one of the dim and feckless individuals who didn't avoid catching a disease?
Uncomfortable, bad. You feel rotten, and you must feel bad about it.
What sort of disease did you catch recently?
Flu.
What clearly rather hopeless measures did you take to stop yourself catching a disease?
I didn't take any measures at all.
Do you have any idea how you could avoid becoming, again, one of those bad idiots that goes around catching a disease?
No.
Actually, having a health campaign reminds me of a time when I had to read out a story about a member of the royal family who was ill, and I said that she was 111.
Serious tone of voice.
There's been a large disaster at Big Street Station. Details are sketchy, but it seems that a train ran into the buffers at 8:13 this morning during a rush hour crowded with commuters. And Transport Police have just issued this description of what happened.
Can you repeat that, please? In collision event occurred when the VPU vehicular power unit proposed an IAV inappropriate arrival velocity to the IAHTS impact absorbing hydraulic trumpet system. Was it lodged? Thank you.
On the hour. First on the scene at major disasters.
Our disaster correspondent Roger Blatt is on the